This right here is a first. Now, it's not very often that we have any firsts around here, not after doing this for the better part of 3 decades, but this actually is a first. On the line right now is arguably, and I'm going to qualify that by saying arguably the most important listener of all time. Now, notice I said listener and not caller. There's a major distinction to be made between listeners and callers. This is arguably the most important listener we have. Because as well known as this listener is, he has never, not even once, never ever called the program. This listener, however, runs the definitive fan site for the program. Every single day, he chronicles all the best moments from the show, including all of your phone calls. He has created a forum for every single clone to stay up to date and to stay in touch with all things jungle. I laugh sometimes and joke sometimes. This guy knows more about the show than I know about the show. When you want to hear what went down at any point in the last quarter of a century on this program, a lot of you head right to his website. I consider this guy to be a Hall of Fame clone. Hall of Fame, first ballot clone. Because he's done so much for the show for so long, and it's been nothing but a great guy. Very nice, very passionate. He's made the jungle a much better place. How many times have I said, ask not what I can do for you, but what you can do for the jungle? How do you make it a better place? How do you elevate the conversation? This guy has made the jungle a much better place and has been a massive resource for us for a long time. But like I said, before right now, he has never called before. And there's a reason for that. He told Hawk the reason he's never called, he's nervous as hell. This is not where he lives. This is not what he does. But he is calling for the first time ever, so there's got to be a good reason for that, and I can't wait to hear what it is. Now, I would imagine if prior to this, if he never called because he was nervous as hell, I would imagine that big run-up didn't help at all. Brother, take some deep breaths. Brother. Let's find out what it's all about. We go now to the phones. We go to Steve in H-Town. He is the founding member of the wildly popular Stucknut.com, the voice behind the Twitter account at Stucknut, and a guy that I met just outside of Houston when I was there for the Super Bowl a few years back. He is on the phones for the first time ever. He is Steve in Houston, a.k.a. Stucknut. Nut. Brother, what's going on? How you doing?
Finally.
My man, finally. You did it, dude. You're on the air. How's it feel?
You're right, man. I was nervous before, but even worse now.
I got you, man. It's all good. I got you. All right, so let me ask you this. Just a couple of quick questions. This is easy, no curveballs. How long have you been listening, and how long have you been working on Stucknut.com?
Well, I've been listening since 98. Found you on 610 back in the day. And then the whole Stucknut thing started. I was a member of livewithmom.com, as you remember, and that was starting to fail, so I started Stucknut in 2005, and I've been doing it ever since, archiving the show. You know, got all the old audio from Live with Mom, so that's where you find it.
I love it.
That's what I do. I'm a loser.
Dude, you're not, man. You're not a loser. You're a stud. How many visitors to the website do you get every single week?
You know, I stopped looking at that because it's the main thing for a while was the forum, and those have kind of died with Twitter. So it's not nearly as much as it used to be, but Smack Off time is definitely a lot more.
Yeah, it's going to fire up for you right now. We're talking to the nut. He is Stucknut. He is Stephen H-Town. Let me ask you something, man. And it's not because, quote, you're a loser. Why do you do this?
Because I love the show. I want to give people, a quick and easy way to keep track of the show and the callers. And I think I like the show within the show. I want to keep that going. You know, I love the smack, the clone-on-clone crime. So I want to give them a quick and easy way to go back and find the call so they can respond, usually in the same show.
Hey, Nut, listen, I mentioned that you've been doing this for a long time, but you have never once called the program. I know there's a reason why you're calling the program, other than the fact that you're just killing it and tearing it up right now. But why are you calling today? Who put you up to this? You must have something to promote.
I do, and I don't want to go Alonzo Mourning and just get straight to the pitch, but we're doing a Smack Off after show again. You'll be able to find it on my Periscope at Stucknut and on Stucknut.com. It will start right after your show on Friday, and I think it's our 11th year in a row to do it. So it's just we take calls from fans and the participants and those who are left on hold. Those are usually the best calls we get. We also will do a pre-show the night before at 8:30 Central, just so we can make sure we get the audio and everything good.
Smart.
So the after show will be perfect.
Listen, I'm a huge proponent of this because what we do is normally we do the smack off and then we run off to the weekend and then people are left to respond the way they want to respond. They agree, they disagree, they go on social. But this is a great forum for them to interact. You've now done this. This is going to be the 11th year. Who is a part of the program? Who does this show? You and who else?
Well, we got Headstrom Bacon and Pool Doc. It's the three of us that run it, and that's the reason I'm calling today is because Headstrom called 2 years ago, and then, of course, Pool Doc called last year. We all remember that call. So here I am.
It's your turn, bro. It's your turn. All right, so they know, if they haven't heard the after show, where and how can they listen to this?
The easiest way is to go to Stucknut.com. I'll have it posted on the homepage. We record it, so you don't have to listen to it live. And if you do want to listen to it live, you can find me on Twitter at Stucknut. I'll have a link there to the Periscope.
Right, and again, I'm a huge proponent of the after show. It gets really good run. The interaction is really, really strong. Hey, Nut, for instance, where does the name Stucknut come from? For those who don't know, where does that come from?
That was from a old sponsor he had for PB Blaster. He used to say, if you have a loose nut, or if you have a stuck nut, put the wrench on the bench and use PB Blaster. And that was at the time that I registered the domain. So I figured, let's just go with Stucknut. And it's probably the worst decision I ever made.
Or the best decision. Nut, you're the man. Listen, I appreciate you very much. I consider you an integral part of the program. I appreciate everything you've ever done for the show, for the brand, for me and the clone. Sincerely, from me to you, you are a good dude, and I appreciate all the energy. Have a great after show. You nailed your first call ever, and it's great to have you on the program finally, Nut.
All right, I appreciate it.
Talk to you in 2045, my man. All the best, Nut. There he is, Stucknut. After all these years, finally called the program. He had never once called before, but has been chronicling the show for years. Let's get some of the reaction really quickly. At SA Sports Honk tweets, "Hey, Stucknut, quit calling, weakling."
Keep calling, weaklings.
1for3C1 tweets, "War Stucknut." Old G tweets, "Nut, nut, nut, nut." Paulie in Indy tweets, "The Nut is one charismatic dude. I can listen to him all day long." Signed, Yoko Scream. Ed Quiggs 1225 tweets, "Steve sounds like he's about to war his fiance."
War me and my fiance, and war Jordan.
Jesse in El Paso tweets, "Nut, nut, nut." Quiggs is back. "Could you ask Steve to remove the clothespin from his nose?" Mike D for 3 tweets, "Is it true that Stucknut received calling tips from Reggie in the OC?" Let me stop right there. All of you coming in and take a run at this guy, he admitted it. He admitted it. He's never called the show because that's not what he does. That's not where he lives, and he's nervous as hell. But the three of these guys, all great dudes, are doing their post-show, after show, and it was his turn to call to promote it. He didn't do it because he wanted to. He didn't do it because he wants to be in the smack-off. He didn't do it because he was trying to get you to look at him. It was his turn. He had to. Man, get off his back. Peter tweets, "Ladies and gentlemen, Stucknut if you need him. good job, sir. Right. Jamie in Green Bay tweets, nice job, Stucknut. Glad you didn't talk about global warming.
Global warming.
Johnny Scabs tweets, Stucknut sounds like he's got a pocket protector in both pockets. Scott in Ventura tweets, Stucknut is a legend. He is, too. DLH 1029 tweets, so good to hear from Stephen H. Town. Love you and all you do for us clones and the show. Ditto. Stucknut more than held his own. What has the reaction on social been like to the nut making his first appearance in the jungle ever?
People love Stucknut. We love Stucknut. And it doesn't matter how he came off or how he did in that interview, which, by the way, I think he did great. He wasn't, the most bombastic, over-the-top guy I've ever heard on radio, but he doesn't need to be. He's exactly who he is, and there's a reason why he doesn't call. And that's not to knock him or anything. Know your strengths, punt your weaknesses. We've heard that before. So for him to check in for the first time ever, that was really cool too. A lot of people right now are just thrilled with the way that first hour went. And for them to hear from a guy who has kept the JTP together for as long as he has, and then to hear from a guy who won Smack Off 1, I mean, that was some jungle history right there for the last 40 minutes. That was really cool.
That was really cool. Now, you and I could probably do a better job of explaining what his show is than what he can explain. For those who do not know the after show, what is that all about, and what's that sound like?
So basically, when the lights come on at a party, it sucks because you're not ready to be done partying, but we have to be done at 11:54 Pacific time. We can't stay here and do what we want to do or recap the event. So Stucknut picks up the baton and he throws the party, and people are jacked up. They've been drinking. They're on fire about who won. They're pissed off about the results. No one wants to just go home from the party. So Stucknut has that party at stucknut.com with Headstrom Bacon and Pool Doc. And if you want to continue the conversation about the Smack Off, which basically everybody does, they go and they listen to that show. And all the callers who got on the air and the callers that didn't will call in, and then people will call in with their takes. It's just essentially a great place to keep the conversation going.
So does that show have a running length, or do they just end it when it's over? How long does that show go?
They end it when it's over. I've listened to it before, and it's great. So when it's over, but they let everyone on who wants to call in and do their thing, and you get to hear from everybody, and it's a nice way to cap off what we did, and to have like a super fan and a super good guy orchestrate that whole thing and have everyone take it as seriously over there as they do over here. It's the perfect extension to what we do 9 to noon.
All right, Adam, good job. Well done. Adam Hawk